Scott!
Hey, before we get started on what's going to be a very strange episode of 91 Reasons, I wanted to thank all of my Patreon supporters. Every month I'm humbled that people take the time to pledge to help keep the show running. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You have no idea. There are times when that those pledges just, they save the day sometimes on my life. I mean, that's not hyperbole. That's the truth. So, massive thanks to Michael Bondi, who has been a supporter since the beginning. Dude, I owe you 1,000,000 shows. I know it, and I am so sorry that I'm so far behind. Maybe once you hear the episode that I'm putting up today, you'll understand why I'm so far behind. But thank you again, Michael, for all of your support on the show. Mike Rumble, thank you so much for your amazing support of 91 Reasons. It is amazing. I'm humbled. Oh, my God. Mike Rumble, Hendel Thistletop, good friend of the show, Hendel. Your support means the world to me. Thank you so much. Rob Alvey at Theme Park Review, a really old, good friend. Jeremy from Vegas, him and his family are great. Thank you for your support. The great Tim Wilson, thank you so much. The amazing David Carrero, who I have known for an incredible amount of time. David, thank you so much. Jana McDowell, thank you. You rock, and your party was amazing. Aldo, thank you, and the gang from One Wing Angel, thank you. David Markland from Midsummer Scream, thank you so much. Sean Marshall from Parks and Cons, oh my God, thank you so much. If you haven't checked out Parks and Cons, check out Parks and Cons podcast and their YouTube channel. It's amazing, up to date on what's going on in the world. They're at every event. I don't know how they do it. Jason Rasmussen, I've been goofing with you on Facebook today, so is next Swimwear. Thank you, Jason, so much. Patrick the Storyteller, I am humbled by your support. Thank you so much. Fantastic. And Robbie over at Q11 TV, thank you so much. Those are my Patreon supporters. You guys are the best. You guys keep the show as professional as it is. And isn't it amazingly professional? You know, I apologize for the sound quality on some of my episodes. I'm just not a sound guy. And when I lost the Gemmer shows, I lost my sound guy. I still have Zach, though. And Zach is the sound guy to the stars. So if you need sound help with the podcast, Zach's your guy, man. So you can contact me through the show or on the Facebook page if you need help on that. But again, thank you to all my amazing Patreon supporters. You guys are the best. You can support the show by going to patreon.com, 91 Reasons, and it all goes towards the show. So without further ado, before I fall asleep, here's the episode.
You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
So a couple years back, if you remember, if you're an avid listener, I went in for a physical, just a regular physical, one of those, hey, you're getting older physicals, and you should, since you have insurance, you should go see a doctor just so they can look at you. So during the course of these tests, and I'm a normal guy. I don't like going to the doctor. I don't like being in hospitals. I don't like nothing to do with it. I don't like needles. I don't like blood. And, I work in in the Halloween industry, for the most part, part of my job is creating things that are uncomfortable and gory, and it's just funny to sit there and give blood and go, I don't like any of this. I don't like any of this, even though, my job is to sit and come up with this kind of stuff. So there's a weird dichotomy there. But during that whole testing thing, they discovered that my white blood cell count was high, and they wanted to do all these tests because that means your white blood cell count means that your body is fighting an infection of some kind, but I didn't have any symptoms. So they wanted to do all these tests. I did a GoFundMe because, I had to be at the doctor all the time, and it was, thank God people helped me. And in the end, they sent me to the new Kaiser hospital, to the cancer ward. And, that's your heart goes out walking through the cancer ward because, all the things on the wall are about, hope, and then some of them are about getting your affairs in order, and they thought they didn't know what I have. So they narrowed it down to I might have leukemia. And so they wanted to do this test where they were going to take a sample out of my back. So they were, they lay me down. The doctor described it, and then I used like a giant hole punch to take a piece of my back. And I was like, "Yeah, you're not doing that." He goes, "Well, it would give us a negative of leukemia." I said, "Look at me. I'm not dying. Look at me." I said, "Look, these poor people that come in here, they have obvious symptoms." And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "I don't have any obvious symptoms. I'm not. Look at me. I'm not dying. God bless me. I'm not dying." And he's like, "Well, it's up to you." I said, "I'm not doing that. I'm not having you." I said, I can barely sleep as it is with, just general age. They don't tell you any of this as you get older, that your body just starts shutting things down, You ever see this? There's a movie called, now I'm not going to be able to think of it. It's a Patrick Dempsey movie where he's in love with this chick, and there's a subplot where her grandmother is dying, and they show the grandmother moving through the house, her like the house she's lived in her whole life, right? And she's putting sheets on all of the furniture, and she's turning the lights off, but they keep cutting to her like hasn't left her bed. Oh, she's mentally shutting everything down so that she can die. And you're like, oh, that's very poignant for a silly Patrick Dempsey romance movie, but that's what it does. Your body starts to shut everything down, and you're not really sure what's normal and what's not because no one tells you anything. Growing up, you have all these classes about getting into puberty and what that means, in sexual health class, and understanding the changes that your body is going through. But that all ends at high school, and they don't give you anything else to go on as you get older. You're just sort of left to your own devices. So you go through life and you don't know what's normal and what's not. I guess you're just supposed to go to the doctor a lot. Which I guess in the old days, people went to the doctor a lot. People went to the hospital a lot. But you don't do that anymore. If you've ever done anything with the doctors now, the whole point of modern medicine is to get you out. Is to send you back home. They don't want you in the hospital. They don't want you there. If they can do it over the phone, they will. Eventually it's just going to be a hologram doctor that you dial up in your house. And he's, it's the emergency hologram doctor from Voyager who diagnoses you, and in very rare cases, decides that you should go to the hospital. So I did all those tests, and I'm thankful that nothing was terribly wrong with me, and I came through. I didn't face down death. It's nothing like that. I'm not having an epiphany of I've seen the light. Nothing like that. This is just, again, the purpose of 91 Reasons is to let you know that we're all in this together, and that we're all going through the same motions and same. I mean, we feel so isolated sometimes that you start to think, well, no one would understand what I'm going through. And then when you branch out, you're like, oh, okay. And I'm not saying go to a support group. 91 Reasons, it's its own. We're a digital support group, folks. You can talk to the radio, and I'll go, oh, yeah, But, you know what I mean? Like, we're all experiencing this together, and these are very strange times, because you're at a point now where you can't have an online discussion with anybody about anything without it completely erupting into an argument of some sort. Everything turns into an argument. Nobody looks at a post and goes, I agree with that. I mean, I do. And if I don't agree with the post, I don't post on it. And I think that's me trying to lower my blood pressure. So here's what happened. I was at work one day about 6 weeks ago. I was typing, and I felt like someone had stabbed me in the back. Like, bang, just a really sharp, ooh. So I straightened up and looked around and made sure nothing fell on me, or no, I was fine. And I thought, okay, I'll just, I'm a trooper. I'll keep going. And an hour later, I was standing up in my office, which is very small. I can stand up in it. That's about it, which is fine because I get a lot of work done in there. And I'm like moving my shoulder around and trying to figure out what that pain is. There was a really sharp pain in my shoulder. So eventually I had to call Rachel and say, look, I need to go home. I can't type. My arm hurts so bad. So the next day I woke up, and again, it takes a lot to get me to the doctor because I don't like to go to the doctor. I just want to be left alone, But this was bad. The pain was really bad. So I went to the emergency room on a Sunday, and the doctor tells me, the first they go, is this work-related? No. Is it work-related? I don't think so. Are you sure? Is that work-related? No, it's not work-related. Something happened to my shoulder. Well, what did it? I don't know. What was the catalyst? I don't know. If I knew that, I would tell you. I'd have a reason. I'd go, oh, I did X, and now it hurts. But I was just typing, really. So, doctor looks at my shoulder, and she says, you've ripped a muscle in your shoulder. How would I do that? I don't rock climb. I don't hang on things. And she goes, no, however you did it. And it's very painful. And there's no cure for it. We can give you some pills for pain, but that's about it. And it's going to take a month to heal at least. So they sent me home with these pills. And the deal with these pills is you have to take the pain reliever with food, which just ruined my whole life for the 2 weeks I was on them, because I had to take these pills. I couldn't get the first one in fast enough because the pain was so bad in my arm that I had to. So you take this pill with like enough of a meal that your stomach has something in it so you don't get nausea. So I was eating it with like toast. Well, I have to take this pill 3 to 4 times a day. So in the middle of the night, I'm up eating toast, taking more pills, eating toast, taking more pills. I had a lot of toast, folks. A lot of toast. And they gave me this other pill, which was a complete muscle relaxer. Now, that one frightened me. But, the doctor gives you a pill. You try it out, I guess. So I took it, and the next day I couldn't wake up. Like I was on the couch knowing that I wanted to wake up and not being able to wake up. And Rachel yelling at me going, "What's wrong with you? Why are you acting so weird?" I'm like, and in my head I'm like, "Well, honey, I took a muscle relaxer last night like the doctor told me. And now I can't wake up." But it came out like, and she goes, "I don't know what you're doing." So around 1 o'clock that afternoon, it finally wore off. And it was like coming out of a coma. I said, I am never, ever taking that pill again. Why would anybody want to go down into the depths like that? You know, maybe if the pain got so bad, I just wanted to escape. But holy moly, man, it felt like I was in Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, like I'm being stalked and you can't get away. You can't. Everything is quicksand. Everything is thick. The air is blocky around you. No. So we'll cut to the end of my pills, and Rachel had to go into the doctor. So they had to weigh her. So I'm gonna weigh myself, and I gained like 10 pounds or more. It was the heaviest I've ever been. And I got really scared. Like, what a slippery slope to be on, right? And for a moment I thought, why would I gain so much weight? Oh, the pills. Eating at all hours of the night. So, my knee-jerk reaction, I retreated. The arm is better now. I'm off the pills, not taking the other pills, and I gave up Starbucks, which, that was really difficult for me to do. I gave up Starbucks, right? So I went into the doctor to talk about my throat and not being able to sleep, which is very common. Sleep problems are very common these days, right? But I've got something in my throat that is really preventing me from sleeping. I have no idea. Something in the soft palate in the back just, when I lay down, just collapses. So the day-to-day manifestation of that is, for no reason at all, I start making the Bob Hope growling noise. And Bob Hope would go, "I gotta tell you, that Brooke Shields, and she's something," like, out of nowhere, I'll just be sitting there and I'll go, and I'll make this horrible, like I can't do it on command. It's an involuntary noise. But that's never happened to me before. I've never sat around just making clicking and growling noises. So there's a whole thing they're going to have to do. I have not even done it yet. They're going to I'm going to have to drink something, and they're going to give me an MRI with full color. I don't know. I haven't gone in for that, right? So I'm talking to the doctor about this, and I have this really funny doctor. He's a character, man. He's very dry humor, but he's also very just matter of fact. And so he's like, yeah, okay. Well, why don't we make you an appointment with the sleep clinic? And then we'll do you an MRI. And then he goes, and then he starts making finger gestures with two fingers out. Did you want me to check your prostate? And I'm like Rachel's in the room with me, and I go, no, I'm good. I'm like, how did we get to that? Like, we just jumped to that? Well, you're here. Like, yeah, I'm here, but I'm. That's not even what I'm here to talk about. Okay, yeah, no, okay, cool, man. Yeah. So he makes me an appointment. I didn't have him check my prostate. I'm not quite that old yet. So he makes me an appointment with the sleep clinic. So I schlepped down to the sleep clinic. Now I'm thinking it's like the movies, because in the movies, Nancy, Heather Langenkamp, she like sleeps there, and they have electrodes on her head, and she wakes up with Freddy Krueger's hat, and I'm like, well, that's a sleep clinic, right? The Freddy Krueger thing. And it's, again, remember, medicine has changed. They don't want you there. They want you out. They want you gone. So it's a whole class I have to sit through on how to attach my own sleep recording machine. Right? So there's about 7 of us in this room. And you know that thing that the X-Wing fighter pilots wear? Like, I'd say Darth Vader, but Darth Vader's is built into his suit. The X-Wing fighter one is like this computer thing that lays on top. You know, like on Buck Rogers, Dr. Theopolis is carried around by Tweaky. Now, Dr. Theopolis is round, but this one they sent me home was this square thing, right? So I have to attach it to my chest with these 2 elastic belts, right? So then I have to attach a breathing cord to the top of it, loop it around my ears, shove it up my nose, and then use medical tape to tape it to my face so it doesn't come off at night. Now, already, I look ridiculous. And it's so uncomfortable, I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to sleep with this thing on? And then you have to put, as a wrist thing, like Doc Brown wears, with a little plastic finger cot that goes on the end of your finger, and you're all juiced up in this thing. But here's the thing. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't have any lights. It doesn't have any readouts. It doesn't have an on and off switch. It is programmed to turn on at 10 o'clock p.m. and turn off at 7 a.m. And whatever you got in the middle of it is what they're going to record. But, you know, like when you go to a restaurant and they give you one of those light up coasters that's going to vibrate when your table is ready. You know, originally those things didn't light up. They just vibrated when your table was ready. But they had to add the blinking LED lights. Can you imagine why? Because everybody would come up and go, you know, this thing isn't working. And you go, no, it hasn't buzzed yet. Oh. Well, how do I know it's working? It's working. Trust us. Well, okay. Now it blinks to let you know that it's on and working and receiving the signal. Or the LED light may not even do anything other than placate you into saying in your head, it's working. I don't have to worry about it. Because I'm sure they went through months of testing of people bringing them back. And as they're bringing them back, it vibrates. Oh, it was working. Yes, it was working. So this machine doesn't do anything like that. It doesn't blink. It's a complete brick on your chest. So I have the most uncomfortable night of sleeping ever. Between the wrist thing, the finger cot, the tubes up my nose, the tape, the elastic bands holding the machine in place. It was a complete, unbelievable night of sleep. So next morning, before anybody gets up, I take it all off, I put it in the bag, I get it ready to go, and I'm done. I don't have to go through that again. So I slept back down to the sleep clinic, and you're supposed to check in at the bottom so that by the time you get up to the second or third floor, they're waiting for you to get the machine because they can't do anything for 30 minutes until the machine downloads the data. Okay, so I check in. As soon as I'm there, they're, oh, Mr. Tucker, thank you, your machine, thank you. So Rachel and I are sitting there, and we're waiting for the results of my machine. And by the way, that movie was called Some Girls. That Patrick Dempsey movie is called Some Girls. It's an interesting movie. You should check it out. Not one of his best, but one he made, you know, when he was still relatively young, right after Can't Buy Me Love and next to Loverboy and before Coupe de Ville. But a pretty good movie. So anyways, we're waiting for the results, and I get called in, Mr. Tucker, this way. So I go in, and the guy's nervous. And I'm thinking, oh man, is he nervous because he's going to tell me like I have two days to live? Mr. Tucker, yeah. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, okay, great to be here. What's going on with me? Well, the machine didn't work. What? The machine didn't work. I said, are you effing kidding me? And he goes, yeah, it didn't work. It happens in like 1 in 1,000 or something. I said, well, I should play the lottery today. So there's a long pause, and I'm not sure if he wants me to speak or if he's waiting to speak. But I said, I'm not doing that again. I said, I didn't get any sleep. I said, I put tubes up my nose and tape on my face. Thanks, it's been a great time. And he goes, no. We're going to send you home with a different machine. It's a lot easier to use. And he runs out of the room. And I'm watching this video of this new machine, and I'm thinking what you're thinking. If they have an easier machine, why do they send you home with the X-Wing fighter pilot one? Because the one that they bring back in the room is the Doc Brown one, where it's just a giant wrist communicator. It goes over your finger, and then one little electrode thing you tape to your chest. Nothing up your nose. It's not really bulky at all, and you can sleep like on your stomach, because the other one you can't sleep on your stomach. So I said, wow, you have this nice one. Why don't you? It must be that they're much more expensive, because each one of these to take home, you have to sign a waiver that you understand that it's worth $4,000 if you lose it. Not that I could lose it. I mean, it's attached to me. So I go home that night. I put the thing on. Now this one, the finger thing is not rubber. The finger thing is a big giant like Iron Man finger. And it has a tab on it. So you have to put the finger on a table, press down, and then pull the tab up. And when you pull the tab up, it inflates around your finger like an airbag. It goes, so it won't come off. And I'm like, boy, this is hardcore, man. So I have another restless night's sleep. I schlepp back to the sleep clinic. I'm becoming a regular there. And this time they go, oh, just drop it off. You don't have an appointment today. Just drop it off. I go, okay. So I put it in the drop box. Now this time I've got Luna with me. And we drive literally across the street to a Subway to get a sandwich. And while I'm sitting there eating the sandwich, they call me. Mr. Tucker? This is him, yeah. Yeah, we have the results of your sleep thing. Oh, good, the data downloaded. He goes, yeah, you have severe sleep apnea. Like, yeah, well, of course, that's why I'm seeing you. I knew that. When can you come back? Well, I'm across the street. I can come back now. Well, everyone's at lunch. Can you come back tomorrow? Yeah, I can come back tomorrow. So I make an appointment for 1:30 the next day, and only to find out that Rachel gets off at that exact time. So there's no way I can be in two places at once. So I call the number that called me back, and I get, hello, you've called the sleep clinic. To make an appointment, call this 800 number. And then they hang up on you. They don't answer the phone. So I have to call an 800 number for this appointment at the sleep clinic to try to change it to earlier in the day, right? I get this lady. I go through 10 minutes of what I'm trying to talk about. She goes, let me transfer you to the sleep clinic. I said, well, that's what I tried to do in the beginning, and they wouldn't take my call. Well, they'll take your call now. Well, isn't that a miracle? So they put me through this, the same guy. No, I'm sorry, different guy. And he says, yeah, you have an appointment for tomorrow. I said, can I come in earlier? My wife is off at 1:30. I can't make it. Oh, yeah, we have nothing that day. The earliest we can get you in is May 26th. I said, May 26th? I said, no offense, but the guy I talked to earlier made it sound like I'm going to die if I don't get in there. No. I said, he was very insistent that I come in as soon as possible. So you tell me. And he goes, well, how about the 6th? Can you come in on the 6th? I'm like, I can, sure. And in my head, I'm like, how did you lose 20 days? Do they normally just put people off and put them off and whatever? And then miraculously, like Scotty, Mr. Scott, do you always times your estimates by 3 weeks? Well, of course, Captain. How else do I keep my reputation as a miracle worker? Well, yeah, because it'll take 3 weeks, but I'll have it to you in 1. Well, of course. So, miraculously, I've got an appointment. So, they're probably going to have me wear one of these CPAP machines at night to sleep. I'm sure that's what it is. And I learned how it works. It shoots air down your throat to keep your throat open. I totally get it all. The interesting thing will be, if they do put me on one of these things, which I'm sure they will, would I get a good night's sleep? Because I haven't had a full night's sleep. It's probably been about 4 years. I'm always up. I'm up all hours of the night and day. But it's not my fault. Like the guy on the phone said, you have severe sleep apnea, Mr. Tucker. Well, yes, thank you. Now I have a name for it. I'm not just a night owl. I mean, isn't that the old school? Well, the guy's a night owl. He's up all night. Yeah, I'm up all night, And, so we'll see how it goes. But my God, has it been an adventure with this thing, right? Just trying to figure out why I make a clicking noise in my throat. And this won't even make that go away. That's all separate. Once the CPAP machine is off and turned off for the day, I go right back to clicking like Keop on Battle of the Planets. So we will see. Has this been interesting to you? Was this because Rachel's like, what are you going to talk about? I said, I'm going to talk about the sleep thing. Because that's not very interesting. I go, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe somebody out there has the same problem I have, and they're listening to it going, I should go to a sleep clinic. Because you have this vision of, I'm going to have to sleep in front of people, but they don't do that anymore. They send your butt home. They send you home with Freddy Krueger, because if Freddy attacks you, you're in the comfort of your own home when he attacks. So we'll be back with another episode about something totally different and probably more fun. Not about sleep apnea. I didn't fall asleep during the show. That's a plus, right? Hey, thanks for tuning into this crazy sleep apnea-induced episode of 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
Good night, future boy!